How are you guys doing? Today is Tuesday, May 4th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review the Elite matchups and performances from yesterday, Monday, May 3rd, 2021. And just to get started with the NBA, looking into yesterday's performances, starting off in Detroit, the Detroit Pistons hosted the Orlando Magic, and the Orlando Magic were able to beat the Detroit Pistons 119-112 after outscoring the Pistons by 8 points in the second quarter and by another 7 in the third. For the Pistons, their leading scorer would end up being their starting small forward out of Villanova, Saddiq Bey. He would finish with 26 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 steals in 30 minutes as he shot 10 for 17 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and 1 for 1 from the foul line on the night. For the Orlando Magic, their leading scorer would come off the bench as their center out of Texas, Mo Bamba, would finish with 22 points and 15 rebounds in 29 minutes as he shot 9 for 15 from the field and 4 for 5 from the foul line on the night. With this win, the Orlando Magic are now 21-44. With this loss, the Detroit Pistons are now 19-46. Jumping out to Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks were able to beat the Portland Trailblazers 123-114 after they were able to outscore the Portland Trailblazers by 6 points in the first half. For the Portland Trailblazers, their leading scorer would end up being their elite starting point guard out of Weber State, Damian Lillard, who finished with 33 points, 2 rebounds, 8 assists, and 2 steals in 34 minutes, as he shot 11 for 19 from the field, 6 for 11 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the foul line. Alongside him, their starting shooting guard, CJ McCollum, would finish with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists in 32 minutes, as he shot 8 for 18 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the foul line. For the Atlanta Hawks, their leading scorer would end up being their starting shooting guard, Bogdan Bogdanovic, who finished with 25 points and 2 steals in 32 minutes as he shot 9 for 17 from the field and 7 for 14 from the foul line. And their elite starting point guard, Trae Young, would finish with 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists alongside 6 turnovers in 35 minutes. He would shoot 6 for 16 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and a perfect 8 for 8 from the foul line. Also coming off the bench, their leading scorer would end up being Danilo Gallinari. I just missed this. He would finish with 28 points, 8 rebounds, and a couple of steals in 32 minutes as he shot 9 for 15 from the field, 7 for 10 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the Atlanta Hawks are now 36-30, and with this loss, the Portland Trailblazers are now 36-29. Jumping out to Washington, D.C., the Washington Wizards were able to beat the Indiana Pacers as Russell Westbrook dropped yet another virtuoso performance to give the Pacers their 30th win of the season. Or to give the Wizards their 30th win of the season. For the Indiana Pacers, their leading scorer would end up being their starting shooting guard, Caris LeVert, who finished with 33 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists in 38 minutes, as he would shoot 11 for 28 from the field and 9 for 10 from the foul line. And then their all-star starting power forward, Domantas Sabonis, would finish with 32 points, 19 rebounds, 9 assists, 3 steals, and 6 turnovers in 43 minutes, as he shot 14 for 22 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. For the Washington Wizards in this matchup, their leading scorer would end up being their elite starting shooting guard, Bradley Beal, or it would end up being Rui Hachimura, actually, out of Gonzaga, their starting power forward. He finished with 27 points and 7 rebounds in 31 minutes as he shot 12 for 19 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. Their elite starting shooting guard, Bradley Beal, would finish with 26 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and a couple of steals, as well as 5 turnovers in 37 minutes as he shot 11 for 24 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3, and 3 for 5 from the foul line. And their elite starting point guard, Russell Westbrook, would finish with 14 points, 21 rebounds, 24 assists, and 6 turnovers in 39 minutes as he shot 5 for 8 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. With this win, the Washington Wizards are now 30-35, and with this loss, the Indiana Pacers are now 30-34, as these two teams are inching closer and closer between one another in the playoff race. Jumping out to New Orleans, the Pelicans hosted the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors would beat the Pelicans 123 to 108. The big difference being the first quarter, in which they outscored the Pelicans by 18. For the Pelicans in this matchup, their leading scorer would end up being their elite starting power forward out of Duke, Zion Williamson, who finished with 32 points, 8 rebounds, and a couple of blocks in 37 minutes, as he would shoot 12 for 24 from the field and 8 for 11 from the free throw line. And then their elite starting small forward, Brandon Ingram, would finish with 19 points in 35 minutes, as he shot 5 for 11 from the field and a perfect 8 for 8 from the foul line. As he would also shoot 1 for 4 from 3. For the Golden State Warriors, their leading scorer would be their starting point guard, Stephen Curry, who finished with 41 points, 4 rebounds, and 8 assists in 35 minutes, as he shot 14 for 26 from the field, 8 for 18 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the foul line. And then their starting small forward, Andrew Wiggins, would finish with 26 points in 38 minutes, shooting 10 for 19 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3, and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line on the night. With this win, the Golden State Warriors are now 33 and 32, and with this loss, the New Orleans Pelicans are now 29 and 36. Jumping out to Chicago, the Chicago Bulls were able to host the Philadelphia 76ers, and in this matchup, the Sixers were able to beat the Chicago Bulls 106 to 94, as they were able to outscore Chicago by 17 points in the first half. For the Chicago Bulls, their leading scorer would end up being their starting point guard out of UNC, Kobe White. He would finish with 23 points and 5 assists in 29 minutes, as he shot 8 for 19 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line. And for the Philadelphia 76ers, their leading scorer would be their starting power forward, Tobias Harris, who finished with 21 points, 9 rebounds, and a couple of steals in 35 minutes, as he shot 10 for 13 from the field and 1 for 1 from the foul line. Their starting shooting guard, Seth Curry, would finish with 20 points in 35 minutes, as he shot 7 for 10 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and a perfect 3 for 3 from the foul line. Their elite starting point guard, Ben Simmons, would finish with 15 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in 33 minutes, as he shot 6 for 7 from the field and 3 for 5 from the foul line. And their elite starting center, Joel Embiid, would finish with 13 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks in 33 minutes, as he shot 4 for 13 from the field and 5 for 6 from the foul line on the night. With this win, the Philadelphia 76ers are now 44 and 21, and with this loss, the Chicago Bulls are now 26 and 39 on the season. Jumping out to Memphis, the Memphis Grizzlies were able to beat the New York Knicks, or they hosted the New York Knicks, and the Knicks were able to beat the Grizzlies 118 to 104. As the Knicks are continuing to surge, they were able to outscore the Grizzlies by 11 points in the first half. For the Grizzlies, their leading scorer would end up being their starting small forward, Dillon Brooks, who finished with 25 points and a couple of steals in 35 minutes, as he shot 8 for 19 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3, and 4 for 6 from the foul line. Off the bench, their shooting guard, Desmond Bane, would finish with 22 points, 8 rebounds, a couple of assists, and 3 steals in 26 minutes, as he shot 9 for 13 from the field and 4 for 7 from 3. And then in their starting lineup, their elite starting point guard, Ja Morant, would finish with 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists in 38 minutes, as he shot 2 for 14 from the field and a perfect 4 for 4 from the foul line. For the New York Knicks, their leading scorer would be their all-star starting power forward, Julius Randle, out of Kentucky, who finished with 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in 38 minutes, as he shot 9 for 23 from the field, 5 for 8 from 3, and a perfect 5 for 5 from the foul line. And off the bench, former NBA MVP Derrick Rose would finish with 25 points in 27 minutes, shooting 11 for 15 from the field and 3 for 5 from 3. With this win, the New York Knicks are now 37 and 28. With this loss, the Memphis Grizzlies are now 32 and 32. Jumping out to Utah, or Salt Lake City, the Utah Jazz hosted the San Antonio Spurs, and they were able to beat the San Antonio Spurs 110 to 99, as the difference would come in the first half. They were able to outscore the San Antonio Spurs by 17 points in the first half and win the whole game by 11. For the Spurs, their leading scorer would end up being their starting small forward, DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan would finish with 22 points and 6 assists, as well as 3 steals in 33 minutes, as he shot 10 for 17 from the field and a perfect 2 for 2 from the foul line without attempting a single three-pointer. And for the Utah Jazz, their leading scorer would be their starting small forward, Bojan Bogdanovic. Bogdanovic would finish with 25 points in 33 minutes, shooting 10 for 17 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the foul line. Their elite starting center, Rudy Gobert, would finish with 24 points, 15 rebounds, a couple of steals, and 3 blocks in 30 minutes as he shot 10 for 14 from the field and 4 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, the Utah Jazz are now 47-18, and with this loss, the San Antonio Spurs are now 31-33. And then last but not least, jumping out to Staples Center, the defending champs Los Angeles Lakers were able to host and beat the Denver Nuggets 93-89 to pick up their 37th win of the season. For the Denver Nuggets, their leading scorer would end up being their elite starting center, Nikola Jokic, who finished with 32 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in 36 minutes as he shot 12 for 28 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and 2 for 8 from the foul line. And for the Los Angeles Lakers, their leading scorer would end up being their elite starting power forward, Anthony Davis, who finished with 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 33 minutes as he shot 9 for 19 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 6 for 7 from the foul line. With this win, the Los Angeles Lakers are now 37-28, and with this loss, the Denver Nuggets are now 43-22. Right now, that is what the NBA is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Taking a really quick glance at what's going on with the NHL, because, of course, within the NHL, every team has to stay and play within their own division as the season is really ticking down to its last couple of days. Starting off in Canada, the Ottawa Senators were able to beat the Winnipeg Jets 2-1 to pick up their 20th win of the season. Staying up north, the Montreal Canadiens were able to beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2 in overtime to pick up their 24th win of the season. The Vancouver Canucks hosted the Edmonton Oilers, and the Oilers were able to beat the Canucks 5-3 to pick up their 31st win of the season. Jumping out to the Eastern Division, the Buffalo Sabres were able to beat the New York Islanders 4-2 to pick up their 14th win of the season. The Boston Bruins beat the New Jersey Devils 3-0 to pick up their 31st win of the season. The Washington Capitals beat the New York Rangers 6-3 to pick up their 33rd win of the season. The Philadelphia Flyers were able to beat the Penguins 7-2 to pick up their 23rd win of the season. Out in the Central Division, the Carolina Hurricanes were able to beat the Chicago Blackhawks 5-2 to pick up their 35th win of the season. The Nashville Predators were able to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets 4-3 to pick up their 29th win of the season as the Blue Jackets center Bemstrom was able to pick up a hat trick on the day. And then jumping out to Miami, the Florida Panthers were able to beat the Dallas Stars 5-4 to pick up their 35th win of the season, which of course was well needed. Last but not least, jumping out west in St. Louis, the St. Louis Blues were able to beat the Anaheim Ducks 3-1 to pick up their 24th win of the season. The Minnesota Wild were able to beat the Las Vegas Golden Knights to pick up their 33rd win as they won this game 6-5. The Arizona Coyotes hosted the Los Angeles Kings as the Kings were able to beat the Coyotes 3-2. And last but not least, out in San Jose, the Sharks hosted the Avalanche, and the Avalanche were able to beat the Sharks 5-4 to pick up their 34th win of the season. That is how the NHL is shaping up following all of these matchups. Jumping out really quickly to the MLB to check out what's going on in that league. Starting off in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies hosted the Milwaukee Brewers and were able to pick up a 4-3 win, giving Velasquez his first win of the season. For the Milwaukee Brewers, the start and the loss would go to Adrian Hauser. Hauser would allow 2 earned runs in 6 innings pitched as he struck out 2 batters on the day. With this loss, Adrian Hauser is 2-3 as a starting pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. In their batting lineup, their only player that finished with more than 1 hit would be their elite left fielder, Christian Yelich, who went 2 for 4 on the day. For the Philadelphia Phillies, their starting pitcher, Vince Velasquez, would pick up the start and the win. He would allow 1 earned run in the 6 innings that he pitched as he struck out 6 batters on the day. With this win, he is 1-0 as a starting pitcher, and the save would end up going to Hector Neris. This would be his 6th of the season. In their batting lineup, their shortstop, Didi Gregorius, would go 2 for 3 as he was the only Philadelphia Philly with more than 1 hit on the day. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are now 14-15 on the season, and with this loss, the Milwaukee Brewers are now 17-12. Jumping out to Minneapolis, the Minnesota Twins hosted the Texas Rangers, and in this matchup, the Twins would beat the Rangers 6-5 as Kenta Maeda picked up his 2nd win of the season. For the Texas Rangers, the start and the loss would end up going to Dane Dunning. Dane Dunning would allow 2 earned runs in the 5.2 innings that he pitched as he struck out 5 batters on the day. With this loss, Dunning is now 1-2 as a starting pitcher on the season. In their batting lineup, their first baseman Nate Lowe would go 2 for 5 with a run, and the only other player with more than 1 hit would be their right fielder, Joey Gallo. Gallo would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as Gallo hit his 3rd home run of the season, as he was also able to walk as well. For the Minnesota Twins, the start and the win would go to Kenta Maeda, who would allow no earned runs and only 2 hits in 5.1 innings pitches. He struck out 8 batters on the day. The save would end up going to their closer, who in this matchup was Taylor Rogers. Rogers would allow 2 earned runs in the 1 inning that he pitched, but he still picked up his 2nd save of the season. In their batting lineup, their first baseman, Alex Kirilloff, will go 2 for 4 with an RBI and 3 runs on the day. And then their second baseman, Jorge Polanco, will go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his first triple of the season yesterday as well. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are now 11-16, and with this loss, the Texas Rangers are now 13-17. Jumping out to St. Louis, the St. Louis Cardinals hosted the New York Mets and were able to pull up a 6-5 win as they gave Adam Wainwright his first win of the season. For the New York Mets, the start and the win will go to their starting pitcher in this game, who would be Joey Lucchesi. Joey Lucchesi would allow 6 earned runs in the 2.2 innings that he pitched. He only struck out a batter. With this loss, Lucchesi is 0-2 as a starting pitcher for the Mets this season. In their batting lineup, their elite first baseman, Pete Alonso, will go 3 for 4 with 2 runs on the day. Their center fielder, Kevin Pillar, would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 2nd home run of the season for New York. And then for St. Louis, the win would go to their pitching legend, Adam Wainwright, who would allow 5 earned runs in 5.2 innings pitches. He struck out 5 on the day. With this win, Adam Wainwright is 1-3 on the season, and the save would go to Alex Reyes, his 8th save of the season. In their batting lineup, their second baseman, Tommy Edman, will go 2 for 4 with a run. And then their shortstop, Paul DeJong, will go 2 for 4 with a run. They were the only 2 players with more than 1 hit. Their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, will go 1 for 3 with a run. And then their elite third baseman, Nolan Arenado, would end up going 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the season for St. Louis. With this win, the Cardinals are now 17-12. And with this loss, the New York Mets are now 11-12. Jumping out to Kansas City, the Kansas City Royals hosted the Cleveland Indians, and the Indians were able to beat the Royals 8-6 as they scored 5 of their 8 runs in the 7th inning. For the Kansas City Royals, the start would end up the start and the non-decision would end up going to their starting pitcher, Daniel Lynch. Lynch would allow 3 earned runs in 4.2 innings pitches. He struck out 3 batters on the day. The loss would go to their second relief pitcher, who in this game was Jacob Junis. Junis would allow 5 earned runs in the 1.2 inning that he pitched as he struck out 2 batters on the day. With this loss, he is 1-2 as a relief pitcher. In their batting lineup, their elite second baseman, Whit Merrifield, would finish 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 4th home run of the season. Their right fielder, Jorge Soler, will go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. And then their third baseman, Hunter Dozier, would hit his 4th home run of the season as he went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. For the Cleveland Indians, the start would go to Aaron Savali. Aaron Savali would allow 3 earned runs in the 5.2 innings that he pitched. He struck out 2 batters. But the win would go to their first relief pitcher, who in this game would end up being Brian Shaw. Brian Shaw would allow 2 earned runs in the 1 inning that he pitches. He struck out 1, but he is now 1-0 on the season. And the save would go to their closer, who in this game was Emmanuel Chase, his 6th save of the season, as he was able to keep the Royals scoreless in his inning that he pitched. In their batting lineup, their designated hitter Franmil Reyes would go 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their elite third baseman Jose Ramirez would go 1 for 3 with 2 runs and 2 walks for himself. Their center fielder, who in this game was Harold Ramirez, would go 2 for 5 with a run on the day. And then their right fielder, Josh Naylor, would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run for himself, as Naylor hit his first home run of the season for Cleveland. With this win, the Indians are now 14-13, and with this loss, the Kansas City Royals are now 16-11. Jumping out to Anaheim, the Los Angeles Angels hosted the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Rays were able to beat the Angels 7-3, as Tyler Glasnow picked up his 4th win of the season. For the Los Angeles Angels in this matchup, the start and the loss would end up going to Jose Quintana. Jose Quintana would allow 5 earned runs in the 3.2 innings that he pitched, as he struck out 9 batters in those. Out of those 11 batters that he got out, 11 of them were via strikeout. And with this loss, he is now 0-3 as a starting pitcher for the Angels this season. In their batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani, will go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run, as Ohtani hit his 9th home run of the season. Their go-to center fielder, Mike Trout, will go 1 for 3, as he would finish with a walk on the day for himself. And then their elite third baseman, Anthony Rendon, will go 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. For the Tampa Bay Rays, the win would go to their starting pitcher, Tyler Glasnow, who would allow 3 earned runs in their 6 innings pitched, as he struck out 8 batters on the day. With this win, Glasnow is 4-1 as a starting pitcher for Tampa Bay. In their batting lineup, their third baseman, Mike Brasso, would go 1 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their first baseman, Yandy Diaz, would end up going 3 for 4 with an RBI. Their right fielder, Manuel Margot, would go 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. And then their shortstop, Willy Adames, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs on the day. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 15-15, and with this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are now 13-14. Jumping out to Oakland, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Toronto Blue Jays and were able to pull off a 5-4 win, as Frankie Montas would pick up his 3rd win of the season. For the Toronto Blue Jays, the start and the loss will go to Steven Matz, who would allow 5 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, as he struck out 6 batters on the day. With this loss, Matz is 4-2 as a starting pitcher for Toronto. The only player who had more than 1 hit on the day would be their elite first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who went 3 for 4 with a run on the day. And then for Oakland, their starting pitcher, Frankie Montas, would end up with the win, as he allowed 3 earned runs in 6 innings pitched, as he struck out 4 batters on the day. With this win, he is 3-2 as the starting pitcher for the Oakland Athletics. In their batting lineup, their center fielder, Ramon Laureano, will go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run on the day. Their elite third baseman, Matt Chapman, will go 1 for 4 with a run. Their second baseman, Jed Lowry, will go 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run for himself. And then their right fielder, Steven Piscotty, would end up going 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run for himself. With this win, the Oakland Athletics are now 18-12, and with this loss, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 14-13. Jumping out to San Diego, the San Diego Padres hosted the Pittsburgh Pirates and were able to pull up a 2-0 win to pull up their 17th win of the season. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, the start and the loss would end up going to Tyler Anderson. Anderson would allow 2 earned runs in 6.2 innings pitched, as he struck out 5 batters on the day. With this loss, Anderson is now 2-3 as a starting pitcher, as nobody on the team was able to log more than 1 hit, as their team was only held to 4 hits all day. The Padres were only held to 3 hits all day, But as for them, their starting pitcher would end up being Miguel Diaz. Diaz would allow no earned runs in the 3 innings that he pitched. He struck out 3. The win would go to their third relief pitcher on the day, who would end up being Tim Hill. Tim Hill would allow no earned runs and 1 strikeout, or he would strike out 1 batter in the 1 inning that he pitched, as he is now 2-2 as a relief pitcher. The save would go to Mark Melancon, his 10th save of the season. In their batting lineup, nobody on the team would finish with more than 1 hit on the team, but they were still able to pick up their 17th win. With this win, the San Diego Padres are now 17-13, and with this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 12-16. And last but not least, jumping out to Seattle, the Seattle Mariners hosted the Baltimore Orioles. The Orioles were able to beat the Mariners 5-3, as all 5 of their runs came in the 8th inning. For the Seattle Mariners, the start would end up going to, or the start for the first 2 innings would go to Eric Swanson. He would pitch 2 innings, allowing no earned runs, was striking out 3. The loss and the blown save would end up going to their relief pitcher, Anthony Misiewicz. In this game, he would end up allowing 3 earned runs in the .1 inning that he pitched. And then for the ball, and then in their, like I said, in their lineup, the only player, no one on their team had more than one hit, but Mitch Haniger would have 2 of the 3 RBIs as he went 1 for 4. He would hit his 8th home run of the season. For the Baltimore Orioles, the start would end up going to Dean Kramer. Kramer would allow 1 earned run in 6 innings pitches. He struck out 4 batters on the day. And the win would go to their first relief pitcher, who in this matchup was Cole Sulser. And Cole Sulser would end up allowing no earned runs in the 1 inning that he pitched. He is now 1-0 on the season, as the save would end up going to Cesar Valdez, his 7th of the season. And then in their batting lineup, their center fielder, Cedric Mullins, would end up going 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run, as he hit his 5th home run of the season. The only other player with more than 1 hit on the team would be their second baseman, who was Pat Valaika, who would go 2 for 3 with a run on the day. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are now 14-15, and with this loss, the Seattle Mariners are now 16-14. With that said, that's virtually everything that's going on, or that's everything from yesterday, Monday, May 3rd, as we lead into today, May 4th. And once all of today's matchups are done, I will come back with another episode tomorrow, as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Once again, today is Tuesday, May 4th, 2021, out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and I hope everyone is well, and I wish everyone the best. Thanks for listening to my piece, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.